Have you ever noticed how some people change their entire personality every few months? One month they're obsessed with photography, and suddenly they're convinced they're meant to become a filmmaker. A few weeks later, they're reading books about starting a business, then they're learning guitar, training for a marathon, buying expensive coffee equipment, planning to move to another country. It's never just a hobby. Every new interest feels like discovering their true purpose. For a while, they become completely consumed by it. They buy the equipment, watch hundreds of videos, imagine the future, tell everyone about their new life. And then, almost as quickly as it arrived, the excitement disappears. The equipment gathers dust, the dream fades, and another obsession takes its place. If you've ever wondered why this happens, the answer isn't laziness, and it isn't a lack of discipline. Something much deeper. Because for many people, they aren't really searching for a hobby. They're searching for an identity. One psychologist described it perfectly. We're not collecting hobbies. We're collecting possible lives. Think about that for a second. Every new interest isn't just an activity. It's an alternate version of yourself. The photographer, the musician, the entrepreneur, the fitness coach, the traveler, the writer. Each one whispers the same promise. Maybe this is the person you're supposed to become, and that's incredibly powerful, because humans don't just want something to do. We want to know who we are. This is especially common in people with ADHD, but the pattern exists far beyond ADHD. Whenever life feels uncertain, whenever your identity feels unstable, the brain becomes desperate for a story that finally makes sense. Imagine someone trying yoga for the first time. The instructor compliments their posture. Most people smile, go home, and come back next week. But someone trapped in this identity-searching mindset can experience something completely different. Suddenly, they're imagining becoming a certified instructor, living in Bali, teaching meditation retreats, quitting their job, changing their entire lifestyle, all from one compliment. It sounds irrational, but emotionally it makes perfect sense, because they weren't chasing yoga. They were chasing certainty. One unexpected story illustrates this perfectly. A medical student spent years planning to become an oncologist. His father was a respected cancer doctor. His future seemed already decided. Then during a psychiatry rotation, something strange happened. The psychiatrist barely spoke. The room was tense. Students were uncomfortable. Instead of giving a motivational speech, the psychiatrist calmly finished an apple, and then ate the core, the seeds, the stem. Everything. The entire room burst into laughter, without saying much at all. Completely changed the atmosphere. That tiny moment fascinated the student. Not because psychiatry suddenly looked glamorous, but because he witnessed someone thinking differently. Years later, he realized he never found his passion by searching for it. He stumbled into it. That's an uncomfortable truth. Most people think passion is something you discover by looking harder. But actively searching for your thing often makes you less likely to recognize it. Because once you're desperate to find purpose, your brain starts seeing signs everywhere. Every small success feels like destiny. Every compliment feels like confirmation. Every exciting moment feels like proof you've finally figured yourself out. Psychologists call this confirmation bias. Once you desperately want something to be true, your brain begins collecting evidence that supports it, quietly ignoring everything else. That's why excitement can become dangerous. Not because excitement is bad, but because excitement isn't evidence. It's just an emotion. And emotions are terrible fortune tellers. The problem becomes even bigger when your identity depends on staying excited. Because excitement always fades, every single time. Not because the hobby was wrong, because that's how the brain works. Neuroscientists explain motivation as a conversation between multiple brain systems. One part thinks about long-term goals. Another focuses on immediate rewards. Another responds to emotions. Another evaluates habits. Imagine them all voting before every decision. Should we keep practicing guitar? Should we finish writing the book? Should we wake up early? Should we keep learning? When excitement dominates the vote, everything feels easy. Until excitement leaves. Then suddenly, the exact same activity feels impossible. Nothing changed about the hobby. Only the emotion changed. This is why people often say, "I lost my passion." In reality, they usually lost the emotional high, and they mistake the end of excitement for the end of purpose. The brightest flame usually burns out first. Ironically, the people who become truly exceptional rarely rely on excitement. They rely on something much quieter: consistency. Think about any musician you've admired, any athlete, any artist, any scientist, any entrepreneur. Their lives weren't built from endless inspiration. They were built from ordinary days, repetitive days, sometimes boring days, the kind of days nobody posts online. That's because mastery isn't exciting most of the time. It's repetitive. Repetition doesn't feel magical, it feels normal. There's another hidden reason people become obsessed with new identities. Our identity isn't created from facts. It's created from emotional memories. Ask someone who they are, and they'll usually tell you stories. I've always been the funny one. I was never good enough. I'm independent. I'm shy. I'm indie. The responsible one. These aren't objective truths. They're narratives. Stories built from emotionally significant moments. For many people with ADHD, childhood contains more criticism than average. More teachers saying, "You're not paying attention." More unfinished homework. More forgotten responsibilities. More moments of feeling different. Eventually, those experiences become identity. I'm lazy. I'm unreliable. I never finish anything, even when those labels aren't true. So when an exciting hobby appears, it doesn't just promise enjoyment, it promises escape. Maybe this version of me won't disappoint people. Maybe this version finally succeeds. Maybe this version deserves respect. No wonder letting go becomes so painful, because quitting the hobby feels like losing hope. Not losing photography, not losing fitness, not losing coding. Losing the possibility of becoming someone better. But here's the trap. Identity cannot be borrowed from hobbies. It has to be built, one action at a time, one decision at a time, one ordinary day after another. Instead of asking, "What's my passion?" a better question is, "Who do I want to become?" You want to become dependable, kind, curious, disciplined, creative, patient? Those qualities don't require a perfect hobby. They require repeated behavior. If you want to become disciplined, do one disciplined thing today. If you want to become generous, help someone today. If you want to become confident, keep one promise to yourself today. Identity follows evidence. Every action becomes another vote for the person you're becoming. You don't wake up one morning as a different person. You slowly collect proof. This also explains why modern life makes follow-through harder than ever. Our world has become incredibly convenient. Food arrives without cooking. Shopping arrives without walking. Entertainment arrives without waiting. Information arrives without searching. Everything is optimized for speed. But humans didn't evolve in effortless environments. Muscles grow through resistance. Bones strengthen through stress. Even emotional resilience develops through overcoming difficulty. When life removes every small challenge, we unintentionally weaken our ability to tolerate discomfort. Notice something interesting. People now voluntarily pay money to lift heavy objects in a gym because daily life no longer requires enough physical effort. We recreate hardship because our bodies still need it. The same is true psychologically. Character grows through friction. Patience grows through waiting. Focus grows through resisting distraction. Discipline grows through continuing after excitement disappears. Convenience makes life easier. But ease alone rarely makes people stronger. And maybe that's the biggest misunderstanding of all. People often think interesting people have interesting hobbies, but that's backwards. Interesting people become interesting because they've developed depth. Depth comes from staying with something long enough to understand it, long enough to struggle, long enough to fail, long enough to change. A shelf full of abandoned hobbies doesn't make someone fascinating. A single skill practiced consistently for years often does. So the next time you become obsessed with a new interest, pause before buying everything. Pause before announcing your new identity. Pause before imagining your entire future. Instead, ask yourself one question. Do I love this? Or do I love the person I imagine becoming because of it? That single question might save you years of chasing identities that were never really yours. Because your interests don't make you interesting. Your character does. Character isn't built in moments of excitement. It's built in the quiet moments, when nobody's watching, when motivation is gone, and you choose to keep going anyway. That's the version of you worth becoming.